as consumers, I think we need to accept that, for instance, a service provider might have to go offline for 12 hours or so while they patch their systems or while they install newer, better software. The costs might be passed on to us as well, so we have to expect perhaps some higher prices for some of these services.
Welcome. Anthropic has labelled Mythos dangerous. Is it a good thing that more government agencies and companies around the world are getting access to it?
Yeah, absolutely. 40-odd companies who are big providers of services to others around the world have had access for a couple of months now. So the benefits that they've been getting out of it have been flowing through to a lot of smaller companies and agencies around the world. But definitely for a country like Australia, who's a close US ally, our Australian Signals Directorate, for instance, as a government agency, will be among the first cabs off the rank in Australia to get access to it. For them to be able to apply their expertise will be really, really helpful. Equally for big Australian companies, telcos, banks, large power providers, they all have their expertise and their particular needs as well. So, there might be vulnerabilities that they have that a Microsoft or a CrowdStrike as a cybersecurity company internationally wouldn't be able to fix for them. So direct access from Australia's point of view is definitely a benefit.
And so at this moment, how vulnerable are Australian systems and businesses to Mythos's unique ability to link up small vulnerabilities in millions of lines of code?
So they have been benefiting from the Microsofts, the Googles, the CrowdStrikes and their access to it. But there are a lot of particularly smaller Australian companies, maybe say, or a council-run water provider who are operating often really, really old software. They just build new and new layers on top of their old legacy systems. So there will be vulnerabilities buried in software that have been using for decades. It's possible that the patches aren't even available, or maybe the vendors who provided the software initially can't provide updates, or maybe have gone out of business and don't even exist anymore. So for the smaller players, having access to Mythos will be helpful, but even if they can find the vulnerabilities, they can't necessarily patch them. So yes, there are certainly vulnerabilities, and we'll just have to keep working our way through it, finding as many patches as we possibly can. At the same time, as consumers, I think we need to accept that, for instance, a service provider might have to go offline for 12 hours or so while they patch their systems or while they install newer, better software. The costs might be passed on to us as well, so we have to expect perhaps some higher prices for some of these services. I know higher prices are very, very sensitive for a lot of people right now particularly, but I think we have to get used to those sorts of things if we want to avoid major sort of catastrophic, say, sabotage incidences down the track.
David, the US President has signed an executive order in the past 24 hours seeking AI companies to share new advanced models with the US government before providing them to other partners. What is it that the US is looking to achieve by asking politely for a sneak peek?
So I think what they're primarily aiming to do is to give themselves and their agencies and departments time to prepare for the release of these new models. So they're definitely not sort of vetting them or making sure they're safe and then demanding that the release be conditional on their approval. If it's nothing that heavy-handed, as you know, regulation is a pretty dirty word in the Trump administration. So, they're not looking to take any kind of heavy-handed approach. Rather, they're giving organisations like their National Security Agency, who are their prime cyber defenders, a chance to have a look at these and figure out, okay, how can we defend ourselves against this? How can we potentially use it against our own adversaries, which they're undoubtedly going to use it for. But they're being very, very careful to avoid any sense of encroaching on innovation and the pace of innovation. They feel like they're in a real race, particularly against China in this, and so any curbs on the speed of development is going to be avoided at all costs.
Really interesting to speak to you, David Wroe. Thank you.
Thanks, Kirsten.